Hey guys, Stealth here. Welcome to another episode of the War Room. This episode is mostly about Wargame. Lots of Wargame questions came in last week, so I'll be doing my best to answer all of those. And meanwhile, we're looking at a game that I played with Follow, X, and Swiss, I think 2, maybe 3 weeks ago during the stream. Nuclear Winter, and I believe I was using a North Korean airborne deck, but I'm not exactly sure about that. They might be Chinese units. Yeah, it's Chinese, never mind. Anyway, what's been going on this week? For me, it's been pretty quiet. I haven't had that many business workshops, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing for you guys because I can make more videos, and I have a lot of content scheduled for the next couple of days. On the bad side, of course, it means less income for me, so I gotta focus more on doing my marketing, getting more cash flow going, and keeping myself alive that way. But I'm trying to find a healthy mix between the two because I still really like doing YouTube videos and making content for you guys. So, as mentioned, I recorded a ton of videos. I'm alternating this between Armored Warfare and Red Dragon, as you may have noticed. I keep doing tank reviews, and the tank reviews are something that I enjoy doing. I'm not the best at those tanks, but I'm having a lot of fun in Armored Warfare. And I hope that you have been joining the game as well, because it is really decent gameplay, and I think it's only going to get better. I know that they're going to be introducing new tanks, new vehicles, and possibly new gameplay mechanics into Armored Warfare. So if you haven't already joined, it's a free-to-play game. You can spend as much as you like on it, and I would really recommend you join, because I think you'll have fun. Especially because you are very likely to recognize units from Wargame Red Dragon. By the way, one last thing about Armored Warfare. If you haven't seen my video on it, I have set up a clan or division or battalion or whatever the appropriate name for it is. Anyway, it's a small community where you can join in to find a platoon to play with in either PvP or PvE. If you are tired of soloing PvE missions and trying to get the thing done, but your team members keep rushing off to their deaths and leaving you alone either to die or to fight for yourself versus, say, a hard AI. It's not easy to do, and in order to make it more fun to play with other people or to play Armored Warfare in general, I set up the clan. You can join it by sending me a friend request or leaving a comment down below this video, and I'll add you to the battalion. I'm also using a TeamSpeak server, so we can all be in comms there, and link to that is in the video, which I'm linking to in the description as well as on the screen right now. Alright, I'll be streaming tonight. If you haven't seen that yet, it's going to be an a Warfare Red Dragon stream. My Armored Warfare stream Thursday didn't really get that many viewers, and I'm hoping that that's going to change, but for now I'm going to hold off on Armored Warfare streams. Because I think that right now it seems that people are still much more interested in Wargame Red Dragon than in Armored Warfare as far as my channel goes. Of course, yes, I can stream whatever I like, and I will stream whatever I like, but if I'm streaming and there's barely any people watching, it's not interesting for me to do. And that also brings me to a question about Wargame Red Dragon streams. I have noticed that my Red Dragon streams get more viewers, but overall, the Wargame Red Dragon videos, so where I record just standalone gameplay, get a lot more views than the stream replays do. So, I'm considering just not streaming and investing the time that I usually spend on streaming into making more standard gameplay videos. So let me know what you think about that idea. Let me know if you want me to continue to stream Wargame Red Dragon by voting yes or no in the comments down below, and just upvote my comments instead of answering yes or no. If the yes gets 50 votes, I'll be continuing streaming, and the next stream will be tonight, of course, and after that, the next Monday. If there are less than 50 votes, I will not be streaming and I'll instead be spending that time working on creating more standard gameplay videos for you, because they seem to be getting more attention and they seem to be more desired by the community. Alright. On to the questions, and curiously George asked me a metric ton of questions here. For one, do you do ranked games only, and how do you choose which servers to join? I have never played a ranked game because, quite frankly, when I started Wargame, they scared me because I just wasn't that good at the game, and that just put me off of playing ranked battles. Now, it's probably without reason, because I have seen people with a decent rank with a less win rate than I have, so it's probably not that scary. And of course, it could make for some interesting gameplay videos. The thing is, in ranks, especially if you're doing 1v1s, people tend to use very, very cheesy tactics, or at least that's what I've seen so far. And if those tactics fail, they just decide to quit out right there and then. And I think that's a bit of a waste. That doesn't make for gameplay that's very, very much fun. So instead of actually doing that, I decided to just go for the standard wargame battles, really. Aside from that, how do I choose which servers to join? It's pretty easy for me. Sun Tzu once said, only pick the battles you know you can win. And that is exactly the way that I'm operating with Wargame Red Dragon. Unless I mess up real bad, and yes, that does happen sometimes, I will always be able to win a battle that I pick. And by this I mean that what I do is when I join a lobby, I always have a look at the win rates of the people in my team and on the enemy team. If I see that my team, for example, has a couple of 20% players and I'm going up against what seems to be a coordinated team of 80% players, I will leave right there and then, because I know that I cannot win that battle. You may consider it weak, you may consider it stacking the deck. Whatever you like to consider it, I don't really care, because that's the way that I play, and that's the way that I have the most fun in Wargame Red Dragon, because frankly, I like to win. So that's how I pick my battles. What do you recommend to relatively inexperienced players like me? Regarding multiplayer games, how should we choose our games, and tips for improving win ratio? Pretty much the same thing that I mentioned just now. When you're in a lobby, check win rates. If you see that, for example, your win rate is 25%, and the win rates of the 3 players on the enemy team are 80 and 83 and 85%, you're dealing with a team. A well-coordinated, well-trained machine that is going to stomp you every single time. So what you could do is make sure that you enter lobbies which have noob as the title, or noobs only, or players with a level less than 15. There are usually 1 or 2 lobbies of those around, and if they're not around, you can always set up your own. And that way, you can just create the type of gameplay that you like. And again, I would recommend setting up a lobby, checking the win rates, and if you see people coming in with an 80 or 90% win rate, don't adhere to your rules, say a maximum win rate of 30 or 40 or 50%, kick them out. You're the host, and you decide what kind of game you want. Because, just keep in mind, it is still a computer game. We play these things for fun. And fun is something else for everyone, but for me it's having a good time, trying to win the battle, and not going up against impossible odds, which I know are going to frustrate me, and which I know I just cannot win. So that, I think, is something that is putting off people from Wargame. Because it can be pretty damn hard to learn, it can be pretty difficult to get into. And especially if you repeatedly come up against those teams which just seem hell-bent on killing you with massive, massive overkill. And I'm talking those 80% coordinated teams. And yes, I have been guilty of doing the same thing. If that's your game, fine, go for it. If instead you prefer a more balanced match, then make sure that you find people to play with. And you can do that, for example, on the Reddit servers. Or create a gameplay or a lobby where you can actually decide who is going to play. And you may offend some people. You may offend the highest ranking players who think that they're in for another ruffle stomp, and instead they're going to get kicked out of the lobby. So be it. It's your game. You will probably never meet these people, they cannot do anything to you, so don't worry about offending them too much. Could you recommend a newbie deck? For Red 4 and Blue 4, give codes in description and then tell us its weakness, counters to watch out for. Yeah, I would go with a US general deck and a USSR general deck. And I have created videos on both of these, both on how to create them, what units to pick, what to look out for, and how to import them in 2 separate videos, and I'll be linking to those in the description. Going over all that in this video would make it approximately an hour or 2, and I think you nor I have that time, so right now that's the thing that I'm linking to. How to link up with you in Red Dragon. You spoke about how most of the time you're online you're doing a video, but you didn't tell us the practicals of joining a game with you in the lobby. Yeah, that's true. I didn't exactly mention that because I don't want to get people's hopes up. It is not easy to get in a game with me, but for starters I usually play on a Saturday, which is in my Central European time zone, so Americans and Australians might not be able to be in the same time zone or might not be able to play at that time. What I usually do on a Saturday is join a 10v10, sometimes multiple games of 10v10, because I enjoy that type of gameplay, especially in the weekends. They fill up quickly. So you don't have to be sitting in what's usually known as Lobby Simulator 2015, meaning the long lobby wait times that Wargames sometimes has. And just making sure that you're online on a Saturday improves your chances of actually catching me online. Now, before you start PMing me, can I please have a game? Please look if I'm actually in a game. You can do that by going to your friends list, which is under profile, and then click friends, and you can see if someone's in a game or not. I don't mind getting PM'd in a game, but sometimes I'm just so busy, like last Saturday, and that's a gameplay that's going to be coming up tomorrow. I'm so busy that I barely have time to respond to any direct messages that way. So I don't want to offend people. I don't want to have people think that I'm ignoring them. But sometimes I'm just way too busy. And of course, even in a 10v10, there's only 9 other slots on my team. So actually getting in a game with me might not be the easiest thing to do. Aside from that, keep in mind that I scan win rates. If I see that I'm in a team with a lot of people who are not experienced, I will leave. It is that simple. And that may upset you. You may think, Jesus, he is really an asshole when he's playing. Can be. But for me, in order to keep making Wargame Red Dragon videos, I have to just keep enjoying the game. And I do that by screening my win rates and the people around me. So if you find yourself having a terrible win rate and there are multiple people in the same team with a terrible win rate, and we're going up against a team with decent win rates, that's not really good for me. And I will probably either switch to the other team, where I have better chances of winning, as I just mentioned above, or I will be switching to a different lobby altogether. Now, what I've also mentioned, or what I've also seen the last couple of days, is that when I get online, I start to look for a game. And what I do is a thing I call lobby hopping. So I switch from one lobby to the next, and to the next, and to the next, until I find a lobby that is not stacked with a team, or where I have a good chance of winning. And what I have noticed is that people follow me around. I don't mind that, but if you see me lobby hopping, and if you see me just trying to get a good game, that is not because I'm trying to avoid you, it's because I'm looking for the right game for me. So that's the way that I get games, and that's the way that you could get into a game with me. So for short, look for me on a Saturday, usually online Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Central European time. Sometimes Sunday as well, and during the week I am usually making Wargame Red Dragon videos. So doing deck reviews or just capturing gameplay that way. But when I'm doing that, I'm usually not even online. I just don't connect to the multiplayer server, so you won't even see me there. So, Saturday or Sunday, Central European time, that's the best chance you got to get into a game with me. Now, Next question. Again, we're still doing questions about Curiously George. What, in your opinion, is the best recon helicopter troop, vehicle, and tank in Wargame Red Dragon, and why? For recon, I'd have to go with the Apache Longbow. That thing just has monstrous firepower. It is really, really good at what it does, because it doesn't have to fear from a lot of things. It has exceptional optics, it's really, really fast. It carries 16 Hellfires, which it fires in a double tap, so you're always going to see 2 Hellfires going towards a target, unless you very precisely micromanage that unit, in which case you can force it to fire off 1 missile, but it's not easy to do. If you keep the longbow safe, and if you keep it moving, because a longbow that's sitting still is a longbow that's going to get artied, I just guarantee it. I've had it happen, and I've done it to others. If you can keep it moving, if you can snipe high value targets, and if you can make sure that you don't get too close to towns where longer range AA infantry might be lurking about, you have a really, really good recon helicopter. Let's see, the troop transport, or the troop, I would say the VDV-90. They are, for me, the ideal infantry, because they are not terribly expensive, but they carry some really good weaponry, such as the Vampire. They can go through any tank, they can virtually kill any infantry, so long as it's not too high of a trained shock troop, or elite troop that is. And you can deploy quite a few of them. They have a decent availability. So that's why I really, really enjoy the VDVs. Oh, and of course they do get the BMD as a transport, which, depending on the version that you pick, whether it's the BMD-1 with a 73mm cannon on top of it, or a 30mm autocannon and a concourse missile, it's just a really, really useful, versatile unit. And that's why the VDV-90 for me is my favorite. As far as the vehicles go, my favorite vehicle would be the Vickers Mark 11. It's an ANZAC fire support vehicle. It's basically a sort of LAV with a Leopard gun mounted on top of it. And that makes it really fast, have a lot of punch for its price, because I think it has a 16 or 15 armor penetration, but I think it's 16. It is very, very fast for the firepower that it carries. It can go off-road at 100 kph, and it has a massive autonomy. Those things can go pretty much all the way across the map and back, unless you keep them in the forest where they're going to burn up more fuel. So the Vickers Mark 11 for me is a favorite vehicle. Unfortunately, it's ANZAC, and I don't play ANZAC or Commonwealth that often. But when I do play a Commonwealth motorized deck, those things are always in there. And the fact that you have 2 cards of them makes it a lot more interesting for me to use. And as far as the tanks go, my favorite tank, there are so many good tanks. I'd have to say that's a split between the Leclerc, which is my favorite tank, but I rarely play Eurocorps or France, and thus I rarely use it. Or the STRV-121, which is basically an upgunned Leopard 2A4 with a higher rate of fire, a very, very good gun, good armor. Not the best armor, it's not a Challenger or a Leopard 2A5 like tank with 22 to 23 frontal armor. But it's a very, very good all-round tank. Which is your favorite Wargame Red Dragon campaign, and do you think that the developers missed a trick by leaving out campaign co-op? If so, what do you think the community can do to change that? First up, I don't think that the community can do anything to change that. I don't think that we are going to see many changes to Wargame Red Dragon. We might see another map pack, but that's about it. I don't expect anything else to come in on that avenue. My favorite campaign though would be the Second Korean War, because it is pouring on the pressure. You really have to make the right decision, or you have to improvise a defense. There are quite a few ways that you can play that campaign. You get a lot of freedom, a lot of mobility, and a lot of flexibility, especially with the Japanese air groups that are coming in, I believe in turn 5 or 6. And with those, you can pretty much go wherever you like on the map. And I really hope that in Wargame 4, as far as we're going to call it that, say the wargame that's possibly being developed right now, I hope that there's a campaign co-op in there, because I really enjoyed the campaign co-op in Ireland Battle, although it wasn't that well executed. There was always a bit of confusion of who got what unit. But as I mentioned in, I think last week's War Room or the War Room before that, I do have some ideas on how to get a better version of a campaign co-op. And for more on that, just have a look or a listen at that episode. And as far as campaigns go, I am uploading, or I have already uploaded, quite a few episodes of Pearl of the Orient, but with a twist. It's called Dream of the Orient now, and it is Pearl of the Orient played with the Wished Dreams mod. And that means that the units will have slightly different stats, and it calls for some slightly different tactics. So that's going to be coming up in the next few days, whereas you'll be getting an episode every 2 days about the Pearl of the Orient campaign with the Wished Dreams mod. So I am revisiting that campaign. Yesterday night I was also playing the Climb Mount Narodnaya, which is a really fun campaign, especially since you have so many units and avenues of approach. I really like it when games give me multiple options to execute an objective instead of going steamrolling or railroading me onto a specific course. I like picking my own battles, I like picking the way I fight those battles and combining battle groups the way I see fit. And both Mount Narodnaya and the Second Korean War have that option. Let's see, last question from Curiously George. Could you give us a demo of how to import a deck code into Wargame Red Dragon? Yeah, I can do that. I just won't do that this video because that's going to make it more difficult to record this. It's really not that difficult. You select the deck code from, say, the video description, you click import, you paste it, and you make sure that there are no additional hyphens, marks, or whatever copied by your browser into Wargame Red Dragon, and you press import. That's basically how it works, but I will be doing a short video tomorrow to show you exactly how that works and what the steps are. Alright, I think that's it for this week's War Room. Again, please vote on whether you would like me to continue streaming by upvoting yes or upvoting no as far as streaming goes. If I get 50 votes for the streaming or more, there will be a stream next week. If not, I will not be streaming anymore for Wargame Red Dragon, and I'll be doing instead more gameplay videos. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. If you have any questions for me for next week, please leave those in the comments, and I'll be having a look at those next week as I'm doing the next War Room. Now, hope you enjoyed this. It's turning into a bit of a talk show this way, not that much gameplay, but that's exactly what the War Room is for. So, hope you enjoyed. If you have a question, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and thank you all for subscribing and being a member of my community and my channel. Without you, this would be really difficult, as I wouldn't get any views, and I would have stopped pretty much a year ago. So thank you for keeping me in the game, keeping me on YouTube, and being subscribers. Looking forward to seeing you tonight during the stream, and otherwise, see you on the battlefield.